Hello, this is Jimmy Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of the Libertarian and Uncensored podcast. Let's get right into it. First, we have ProPublica report shows how Justice Thomas might have violated federal law, waiting on Republicans to call for his resignation like they are the senator from NJ from CNN.com by Chi-Town20. And I think my thought there is that all the politicians are corrupt. Some of them just get exposed for it sometimes. So, I think we should get rid of all of them. But the thing is, some of them are just going to be fall guys sometimes. And even then, they're just be replaced by someone just equally as corrupt. But they might not get exposed for it, I would say. So that's my thoughts there. Then we have, people who trust the government, from Pat Brown down, across was from Legalized Freedom. It's people who trust the government and they're out in the rain, and the government is on the other side of the fence doing the piss, and that's where the rain's coming from. So I definitely agree with that. The thing with the government is that they're inherently untrustworthy, and, they'll say they'll do something, but they'll always find a way to screw you over. So that's my thoughts with them. You can't really trust anyone these days, and that is especially true when it comes to the government, I would say. Then we have Republicans hate freedom, across from the Majority Report subreddit. A tweet from No Life Brian Tyler Cohen. Iowa Republicans introduced a constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage in the state, and then he linked to an Axios article, and I said, it's virtue signaling. Iowa's the first state to legalize it. I said the same thing when this came up a few months ago. You can tell it's old news because the article Cohen linked was from March. And it's important to remember that Democrats aren't libertarian just like Republicans aren't. They're both grifter authoritarians, first and foremost. Just because Dems like to present as more libertarian on some social issues, and Republicans like to present as more libertarian on some economic issues, means nothing. Then we have, remember, politics is grifting first and foremost. Then I said, Zelensky says, give me more money so I can squander it away. Then Ibram X. Kennedy's and other activists say, give me more money so I can squander it away. Politicians say, give us more money so we can squander it away. As always, remember SpongeBob's advice, everyone is out there to sell you something, and politics and social media are two of the biggest ways they have found to do that. It's like I like what the LP. I like their tweet of, if we gave as much as we are to Ukraine, we could solve homelessness in the USA for 5 times over. And it's like, I thought people were all about helping Donald Trump in the US, but they seem content with just giving all the money they can to Ukraine. People wonder why Trump's Americans First rhetoric was so effective, and it's stuff like this that explains why. Trump First part was a globalist spender as well, though. He was up Israel's ass as the rest of them, and will probably be up Ukraine's as well. Then we have, yes, the FBI and DOJ are the bad guys, and you are as libertarian as John Fetterman, is a sharp dresser from LP National on Twitter, and that was their response to Joe Walsh. And I said, Joe Walsh is such a grifter. This was less than 7 years ago. He said, I'm voting for Trump on November 8th, and if Trump isn't in there on November 9th, I'm grabbing musket. He went from a Trump status shill to pretty much a DNC one. Then we have the left's most frequently made argument against censorship is that it's never not being done effectively enough, from Seamus Coughlin on Freedom Teams on Twitter, and I said, it's sad. I disagree with them a lot, but I miss the Noam Chomsky left's free speech, especially for those who despise rhetoric. You don't really see that these days. You say, they have, free speech, but only no hate speech, no misinformation. And, the state can label anything it wants hate speech, misinformation. So that means we'll definitely have no free speech. I definitely think, soon we're going to start looking like communist China. We are not going to have free speech. We'll only, if you have to say something the government doesn't like, your credit score will go down. And, with the CBDC coming up, that's not going to be good, I would say. That's how the CBDC is how they're going to input this social credit system, and that's how I think the future is going to go. You're not going to be out to criticize the government without losing social credit score, or maybe outright even getting arrested or killed. This is how bad it's getting, I would say. Luckily, the good thing with a lot of politicians is that they're much more incompetent than they let on, as are most people. So hopefully, I think we'll be able to survive as long as they keep being so incompetent. Then we have, there are regressive left liberal activist groups like Media Matters and Sleeping Giants who do the same. Pressure tech platforms and advertisers to ban those who liberals dislike. These media outlets also do the same. It's obvious liberal activism is masquerading as journalism. And I said, and people wonder why trust in the media continues to sink. People like me and Greenwald are tired of the media bullying anyone who dissents at all, even if they are more on the pro-choice side like Dave Portnoy. It's obvious that the curtain has been opened on the media, and we know they aren't these great, powerful truth tellers that mark themselves as, but rather just schoolyard bullies who manipulate the narrative and bully anyone who dissents. I really hope we will be lucky to see old legacy media like WAPO and NY Times die and fade into obscurity over the next few decades. Social media and citizen journalism have rendered them obsolete. Then we have PragerU's propaganda is now being taught in schools. The media group was just approved to spread its brand of historical disinformation to classrooms in Florida, Oklahoma, and New Hampshire from progressive.org from Chi-Town L20. And I like what big director of 1796 said here. First 69 project, now PragerU. In addition to the already incomplete picture of history that is put forth by various state groups and governments and federal election bureaucrats, and we get ourselves a big pile of I agree. The thing of education is it's inherently trying to push an agenda on people, and PragerU and the 1619 project are good examples of that. So that's why I think, I think we just need to get rid of schools at this point, let everyone learn for themselves rather than have an authoritarian school force knowledge force things down their throat, force narratives down their throat, and that's something that I would say I'm very passionate about. It's time to de-school people, just to have people learn instead of having these authoritarian schools just push things down their throat, I would say. Then we have Elon Musk's anti-Semitic, apartheid-loving, authoritarian grandfather from theatlantic.com. And that's across from Chi-Town L20, across from the Real Tesla subreddit. And yeah, I like another good one comment by Big Director 1796 here. You a sins of the grandfather kind of person, It's just the thing is, people always, it's like, as it comes to slavery, we need reparations. Well, the thing of reparations is, that was our ancestry. You can't have the easier sins of the ancestors to be the sins of the current generation. And sadly, if people want to pay reparations, I think they should be able to, but I don't think they should be forced to, because, it's not what they did. I think Thomas Sowell said, the craziness of our world right now is that people aren't holding themselves responsible or anything, but yet they're being held responsible for the actions of their ancestors, and that just really goes to show what's happening right now. How crazy the world is. You're not taking your responsibility, but no, you have to be held to you're responsible for your ancestors. This is how crazy it's getting. Yeah. Then we have CIA rectal torture in Guantanamo Bay condemned by doctor. And it's from jpost.com by LegioX. And I said, good response by the LP. And they said, their LP's response was, this is the ones who told you to trust the science were the same two people who were waiting for an expert opinion of whether this was ethical or not. So, yeah, that just goes to show, the people, I read Guantanamo Bay is not ethical. People seem to think that, Ron DeSantis shouldn't be president because of his stuff there he did there. But the thing is, Joe Biden oversaw it for decades as a senator and a vice president, now the president, and people don't care because he has the right letter next to his name. So that just goes to show you what they think. He says the magic words. He says trans kids, and everyone, he's all forgiven. He just says the DNC narrative, and suddenly all's forgiven. That's just how bad. This is just how the narrative matters, not really what the actions people do, I would say. We should stop sending our tax dollars to fascist nations from International Number One. That's a tweet from BDS Movement. 47 years ago, church leaders in the U.S. took a stand against apartheid in South Africa, saying apartheid is an unmitigated evil. It's past time for them to do the same in opposition to Israeli apartheid and settler colonialism. Hashtag dismantle apartheid. And Hearthstone X Semi-Pro said, yes, we should stop spending our tax dollars to the U.S. federal government in Ukraine. And I said, we should stop spending our tax dollars at all. Taxation is theft. Next we have flashback, Trump welcomes the shutdown during Oval Office squabble with Pelosi Schumer from Washington Post. And that is from Donald Key. And I said, when the government can just shut down every 5 years and life will continue on, it really shows that people overestimate its importance. Next we have it simply makes no sense to have a centralized collectivist government when no one can agree on anything. And I posted that and I said, my answer is that people want Joe Biden to be their president, or whatever else they want to label him. They can have him as to be their president and give them whatever authority they want to. Same with Donald Trump, or if they want to be their own president, or if they don't want to have any leader at all. We can keep old government buildings like the White House and U.S. Capitol museums over the period when we had a centralized government. Thoughts? And a lot of people didn't like that, but yeah, it's a very I think it'll be good. People will justify what they justify. You do whatever you want as long as you aren't hurting anyone else. So that's my thoughts there. If you want to give Donald Trump all the authority to make decisions for you, give Donald Trump the authority to make decisions for you. Same with Joe Biden. Same with any other politician, or just make decisions for yourself. I don't care. That's people need. I personally think people should need to make decisions for themselves, not have politicians make them for them. But make decisions however you want. That's why I don't like centralized government. We need the individual to be making decisions, not that of the group. Then we have Doomsday Mergers, a retrospective study of false alarms from papers.ssrn.com by Rumai Circle Jerk, and they said, against this backdrop of increasingly alarmist merger claims, this paper analyzed whether previous Doomsday merger scenarios have materialized or whether the critics' claims missed the mark. A retrospective analysis shows that many of the alarmist predictions of the past were completely untethered from prevailing market realities, as well as far removed from the outcomes that emerged after the mergers. And I don't know if I didn't reply to this one, but I definitely do agree that, social media is kind of, it's mostly hype above all else, nothing really happens, it's all, the world's ending every day, and this crazy thing's happening, but, nothing ever really happens, we all just get through each day, and then the next day it's us, we do it all over again, so that's pretty much how it's been since, like 2015, 2016 at this point, social media was a bit more calm for 2015, 2016, but, now it's just and hopefully it calms down again soon, but we'll see what happens. I think when Trump goes, it's probably going to calm down a bit, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it won't, who knows, but it's just going to be the same things. Nothing's really going to change, but people will just be doing the same Then we have Trump suggests Mark Miley could be executed, possibly violating his pretrial release conditions from theindependent.com from Whittling Dan. And I didn't respond to that one since they have me blocked, but I personally am against capital punishment, but if you want to say someone to get capital punishment, I think that's free speech, so that's my thoughts there. Then we have UDU by Chad Muffin, and it's a picture of me, it's a meme of the map of the United States, and it says, let the gays get married, let the rednecks have guns, let the atheists be atheists, and the Christians be Christians. America is about freedom to love how you please, live how you please, and be happy for your life, so smoke a bowl, shoot your guns, cuss a lot of people, cuss a lot, praise Jesus, and wish those two fellas next door a happy honeymoon. And I would agree with that. The thing is, everyone wants to bully their cultural standards onto others, and that's not something I agree with. Agreed. Everyone seemingly wants to bully their cultural standards onto others, and that's not something I agree with. I think in some instances it's justified, if saying oh, I don't approve 40-year-old having sex with a 5-year-old because I don't think minors can consent to some stuff like that. But if you want to justify that, you do. I would personally consider that a NAT violation and justify using force as the result. But ultimately, you justify, and if I think you have crossed the line, then I'll act accordingly. So that's my thoughts there. Next we have interview of exiled activist Antti Rautiainen, autonomous action, invasion of Ukraine, anarchist resistance Russia, work with political prisoners and more, from Tri-Channel 20. That's the YouTube video from across from Libertarian Socialism subreddit, and across the YouTube video from the Right podcast. And yeah, that looks interesting. I think, I'm just going to kind of skip over that one because I don't really have too much to say on that one. Then we have Universal Basic Income or Universal Basic Services, which is better for a post-growth growth society, from sustainabilityforstudents.com by China20. And I said, I feel like UBI is better when it comes to allowing for individual autonomy. It's why if I had to fund one program for voluntary taxation, it would probably be UBI. Then we have Lula's Libertarian left-wing speech at the United Nations General Assembly from the Social Democracy subreddit by China20. And, I personally think Lula is he's a bit more left than I would like, but, I do agree with him on some stuff, like how he's not, sending all his resources to Ukraine, and how, he wants the conflict to end, so that's something I would agree with him, I would say. Then we have Average Redditor and Empathy, and I made this post, and I said, Average Redditor says the problem with libertarians is that they lack empathy. They don't have any care for those less fortunate themselves. And then Average Redditor, when someone disagrees with them, I found this post on the Majority Reports, a comment on the Majority Report subreddit. It was on the Iowa post where we talked about earlier, and it's one commenter said, "Oh, fuck Biden for not nuking Iowa." So that just goes to show you, they say, "Oh, you don't have empathy," but suddenly when it comes to them having empathy, they don't have any for those that they disagree with. So that just goes to show you a lot of people are nothing but hypocrites and have nothing but double standards, really. So that's why you just gotta do what you gotta do, and just have the other people, just call them out for their bullshit. Then we have, has anyone actually read Project 2025 Is It Scary by Patom13? That's crossword from the Behind the Bastard subreddits. And I said, the outgroup is incompetent. It's somehow master strategist. I don't care for either branch of the Unity Party, but frankly, pretty much everyone involved in the U.S. government are much more incompetent than they are evil. People generally tend to overestimate their own competence. Then we have man who fought for Nazis honored during Zelensky's visit to Parliament from National Post. And I posted that, and I said, remember, Nazis are the worst thing ever, except when the narrative says otherwise, because the Reddit progressive narrative is, oh, Nazis are bad, they're taking over America. It's somehow as of an actual guy who fought with Nazis are good, since the media says so. Then we have poll after poll shows that significant majorities of Democrats or U.S. liberals strongly favor both corporate control and state control of political speech online, both in the name of stopping hate speech misinformation, which FBI and DHS will benevolently decide. From Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, I posted that, and I said, scary stuff. They want to control everything, but when it has the wrong letter next to its name, they want the state to control everything, but when it has the wrong letter next to its name, it's suddenly authoritarian, the worst thing ever. I don't care for public authoritarianism or private authoritarianism. I support free speech against both of them. Then we have Ron DeSantis banned ranked choice voting in Florida after several states voted to approve it. Weren't Republicans in favor of a small local government? From WPTV.com, from Tri-Town020, it's crosspost from the Secular Talk subreddit. And I definitely would agree there that that's a bit of a government overreach, I would say. Then we have, okay, I LOL, but seriously, don't go to anybody's house, people. From Brad Palumbo on Twitter. And that's the link he did a Define Else post. Harry Season on May 10th, 2022. I don't care if these conservative justices don't like people to be protesting at their houses. Don't take away people's right next time. And then yesterday Harry Season tweeted, Trump supporting MAGA Republicans are now harassing me at my house. These people are just absolutely insane. And I said, should be legal but stigmatized if you are on public property, IMO. Then we have President Macron says France will end its military presence in Nigeria and pull Ambassador after coup, Viva Liberty. And that's from APnews.com by Chi-Town20. And I said, they'll be back or doing it under the table after the news cycle has moved on, because, the thing with Western governments like France and the US is they simply can't live without stuff like this. So that's something that's always important to remember. So I'm going to see if there's anything new. Let's get some new post. Prolegomon to the Anthropology of Monkey, Homo sapiens from Scribe, and that's a post from Galing. and I don't really know what that's supposed to be. I think that's just kind of spam, but we'll just kind of go over that. But yeah, I like waiting for my here. Clearly, sadly, but I was really Libertarian Sathos in the sub. That's being uncensored just for you. And then finally, we have Ron DeSantis says Republicans lacked confidence to be labeled racist from the FloridaPolitics.com by Channel 20. This is just another Republicans bad kind of post, but the thing is they'll label anyone who questions critical race theory as racist, and sadly, that's just how it is these days. People just throw labels around like they're nothing, and you're starting to see that people don't really care about what labels they have anymore because they're just thrown around like they're nothing. So that's just how society's going, I guess. People don't care. It's like the boy you cry wolf. When you cry, when you label someone, you cry enough, no one will care anymore. So I think we're gonna wrap it there. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.